Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm here today to share another thought on this topic of who is Jesus. And today I want to read from the 20th chapter of the Gospel of John. Here's the context of the story and then the verse I want to focus on. John 20, beginning with verse 24. One of the 12 disciples, Thomas, nicknamed the twin, was not with the others when Jesus came. This is after the resurrection. They told him, "We have seen the Lord." But he replied, "I won't believe it unless I see the nail wounds in his hands, put my fingers into them, and place my hand into the wound on his side." 8 days later, the disciples were together again, and this time Thomas was with them. The doors knocked, but suddenly, as before, Jesus was standing among them. "Peace be with you," he said. And then he looked at Thomas. "Put your finger here and look at my hands. Put your hand into the wound, my side. Don't be faithless any longer. Believe." And Thomas exclaimed, "My Lord and my God." Well, Thomas is kind of like you and me in many respects. Show me the proof. I'll believe it if you show it to me. In fact, the state of Missouri is called the Show Me State. That's their motto. Show me. And a lot of people want to be shown the truth before they believe it. And of course, in our political realm today, truth seems to be just a word that gets thrown around. It's not necessarily based on anything. But in this case, we have the example of Jesus after the resurrection appearing before the disciples, several times actually. And they had to have struggled with, who is this man, Jesus? He was dead. We know he was dead. There's no question about that. He was buried. We know he got buried. There's no question about that. But yet, he came out of the grave, and he actually is doing better than before. I don't know what he looks like. Obviously, he looks something like his former self, or the disciples wouldn't have recognized him. But he comes around mainly because one person, Thomas, doesn't quite get it. It says that when Jesus came to the disciples the first time, Thomas wasn't there. So they tried to convince Thomas. Yes, we did see him. Yes, he's alive. Yes, he's from the dead. There's no question about it. Thomas, being a lot like you and me, made this crazy statement. I'll read it again here. He said, I'm in the wrong. Here we go. He said, unless I see the nail wounds in his hands and put my fingers in them, not just to look at, got to touch it, and place my hand in the wound on his side, I won't believe it. Thomas wants physical confirmation that Jesus is alive. And this person they're talking about really is Jesus. Now, in today's world, with modern electronic activities, we can make somebody look like something they're not. Right now, there's a lot of question is whether Putin of the government of Russia is still alive. And it says that he uses body doubles, which are people who look just like him or are surgically constructed to look just like him. And so he can appear a lot of places. Many say he's already dead. But in Thomas's day, they didn't have any of that. All they had was what was there. And so Thomas, while we think he made a very unbelieving statement, really isn't so different from you and me. Many times we want to know if God is real. Now, obviously, we wouldn't question that and live a life without any fear if we absolutely knew it was true. But yet many people live their lives in fear. You might. A lot of people listening to me today are guided and directed by fear. Fear is the primary motivator for everything they do. So Thomas, as much as we want to put him down for his lack of faith, he was just asking for proof. That's it. Just give me something I can hang on to. So the story goes on that 8 days later, everybody's together and Thomas is there. And here appears Jesus. Now listen to this again. He says to Thomas, put your finger here and look at my hands. Put your hand into the wound on my side. Don't be afraid any longer, but believe. At that invitation to absolutely physically prove who Jesus was, Thomas doesn't take him up on it. He's been saying for a week, I won't believe unless. And Jesus comes up and says, okay, unless. And Thomas never does it. Instead, he says these words, my Lord and my God. You see, the presence of Jesus is so powerful that even a skeptic like Thomas can be won over with just a word. I don't know if Thomas ever got around to checking Jesus out or not. I assume at some point they may have hugged or embraced, and that was a different experience, I'm sure. But Thomas believed and called Jesus Lord. Well, that leaves us with one simple question. Do you call Jesus Lord? Is he really the guider of your life and your sense of direction? Is he actually approving of the things you do? Or is he sitting in the back sad because of the things you do? You and I have this unique opportunity to live out what Thomas said about Jesus, Lord. And it can be led in many different ways. But what it has to be is rooted in the man from Nazareth that was called Jesus. So I'll leave you with that thought. We have one more after today, and then we're done. I hope you have a great day. If you have a need or concern, let us know. We'll do whatever we can, as quickly as we can, to help meet your needs. So until tomorrow, God bless you, and I'll talk to you again.